Hello Pantsers, happy Tuesday. Thank you for all the birthday wishes last week, I really appreciate it. I had kind of a weird week. Saturday was particularly strange. In order to tell you about my weekend, my Saturday particularly, I have to kind of give you some backstory because otherwise it won't make any sense. My parents have been together like forever. They first started dating, I think, in like 1975. My mom graduated high school in 74, so I mean she would have been like 18 or 19 when they started dating. And they got married in 78. When I was really little, I think it was like 82 or something, my parents split up for a while. They were apart for like, I don't know, like 6 months or something. It wasn't very long. And then they got back together. But while they were split up, they actually got divorced. And then when they got back together, they just like never got remarried. I didn't even know about this. Like, I knew that they had split up for a short amount of time when I was really little. I didn't remember it very well, really, but like I kind of remember that it had happened. But I didn't actually know that they had gotten divorced until I was like a teenager, and I only found out then by accident. No one actually mentioned it to me until I was in my 20s. So this is how well my family communicates personal information. My mom said to me once that they had planned to get remarried a bunch of times and it had just like never happened. It was one of those things where every time they would plan to do it, something would come up and it would sort of prevent them from doing it. It would end up getting postponed or whatever. So they've been together all this time and they've just never gotten remarried. Like, it's just never been a big deal. For some reason, anyway, they decided that they were gonna like get remarried. And again, I didn't even know this was happening until just a few days ago. And, again, I kind of found out by accident. My family, not good at, like, any sort of personal communication at all. There's this woman that my mom used to work with. Her name is Shauna, and her husband's name is Tim. And Mom and Shauna have stayed in touch. They don't work together anymore, but they've stayed in touch. My parents and Shauna and Tim get together, you know, like a couple times a year and kind of hang out. And when they decided they were going to get married, again, they asked Tim to do the ceremony. Now, I don't know if Tim already was going to get ordained and like this was a thing that he was going to do, or if he got ordained specifically for the purpose of doing the ceremony for my parents. I don't know. Again, not information that I have. But anyway, he got ordained 5 days before my parents' wedding. And apparently what was going to happen is that my parents were just going to go over to Shauna and Tim's house. It was going to be like very casual, like my mom was going to wear jeans and a t-shirt, you know, and it was just going to be like us. I'm assuming I was invited at this point, but I didn't know about it, so it was just going to be us and like Shauna and Tim and their daughter, and like it was going to be like a 10-minute thing, and then like that was going to be the whole thing. At some point, things started to kind of snowball. Shauna's parents live a little ways outside of town, and they have this nice house with this pretty deck that has like a big wooden archway and like a little fountain and stuff. I don't know how it happened, but somehow someone decided it would be a great idea if we had the wedding out there instead. Now, my parents have only met Shauna's parents like a couple of times. I've never met Shauna's parents at all up to this point. So how we ended up having this over at their house, I don't know, but we did. My dad mentioned to his nephew, my cousin Robbie, that this was happening. So somehow we got a guest list. Like, I mean, the guest list consisted of my cousin and his wife and his mom and his wife's parents and Shauna and Tim and Shauna's parents and Shauna's daughter. It's not a big guest list, but it's a lot more people than were supposed to be there originally. Tessa, my cousin's wife, she's a really nice person, and I don't know her very well, but she got very excited at the idea of like having a wedding. She and my mom are pretty close to the same size, and so she offered to loan my mom her wedding dress, which is this very pretty white satin, hand beaded, has flowers beaded on it, strapless gown with a long train. And then she offered to do my mom's makeup and hair for the ceremony. My mom is a very jeans and t-shirt kind of person, so it turned out to be kind of entertaining. So we showed up, and you know, I didn't know any of this was happening. Like, I knew that Tessa had offered to loan her the dress. That is all I knew. I didn't know that we were having more people at the ceremony. I didn't know that we were having it at Shauna's parents' house. I didn't know that there was going to be like any kind of like actual like ceremony thing. I mean, in the end, it turned out to be a very small, brief thing, but it was still like a lot bigger than it had originally been planned to be. And I mean, it was nice and everything. It was really nice, I think, for my mom. Like, I'm glad that it kind of worked out the way it did, because even though my mom would never have planned it that way ever, she wouldn't have wanted to like make like a fuss out of it. But it was really nice to have other people kind of make a fuss of her, because she's the sort of person who is always doing things for other people and like making a fuss of other people, and like nobody does that for her very much. So it was really nice that everybody kind of made a big deal about her being a bride and like that kind of stuff. So that was cool. So that was the first part of Saturday that was weird. And then my mom had to come home and go to work in the evening. As I have mentioned, I go over there in the evenings and make dinner. I got home about 4 o'clock from the wedding, and Dad was supposed to come and pick me up about like 5 or 5:30, and he never showed up, 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 and I was starting to like wonder what was going on, and the dogs started barking, and I went outside to look, and my friend from high school, who I hardly ever see, was standing outside my house, and she goes, "My husband and my baby are at your parents' house. You want to come?" So I went over there and spent like an hour holding the baby. It's weird too, because I almost never see her. We were really good friends in school, but she got married and moved away, and so I don't see her very often. The last time I saw her was at the baby shower, and I didn't even know she was pregnant until her mom called to invite us to the baby shower. I didn't know that she had the baby until like a week or two later. So the whole thing was really strange. It was like, surprise baby! It was really nice to see her, and it was really nice to see her husband. He's a really nice guy. It was nice to see them, and like, you know, the baby was cute as far as babies go, and it was just kind of a strange experience, especially coming right on the heels of the other strange experience of the morning. It was a weird day, Saturday. It was a very, very strange day. So that's been my week, my weekend specifically. It's funny how, in a way, I kind of count my week from Tuesday to Tuesday, because, like, that's sort of when I sum up what's happened in my week, you know, because I come here to talk to you guys about it. It's kind of weird. So I know you guys have had, like, you know, stuff going on in your lives, too. Zoe, I know you've had a rough week, and I hope you're, like, doing better. Shara, it's nice to see your face on the channel again. Welcome back. So what has been going on with you people this week? I hope that your weeks have been, you know, less weird and, you know, calmer than mine. Heart shape. I can't really do the heart shape like this way, because like my thumbs are so straight, like they're like straight up and down. They don't really bend right, because they don't really make a very good point at the bottom, and so I just end up with this sort of weird lopsided shape. It doesn't make a very good point at the bottom. It just sort of ends up looking like it's sort of flat and weird. That was an important thing to add to the video, right? That's a very important point. Sorry, I've had a long week. Okay. I hope you are all doing well, and I hope you have had good weeks. DFTBA.